In this section, I'm going to talk about the story of having a repository inside a solution. Let's have a look. There is always a possibility to directly access to the database somehow, anyhow. Job done. Bye bye. We could develop an app. It's working fine. So we can say we have done the job. Yes, this is one of the possibilities. But I do call it camel-driven design or camel-driven development. You are happy, like a happy camel, but later on, you will face some issues, or maybe other developers, next developers, will face so many major problems. If you look at this, you will see a repository should be in between to deal with data sources. I will explain these things later, not in this section, in the next sections. But this is one of the diagrams or maps that we can get idea about repository from. Let's have a rough look at benefits of having repository inside a solution. Teamwork. I will explain this item very soon. Decoupling, testability, and maintainability. If you look at this again, I took this screenshot from one of the very well explained articles from Microsoft. I will share this link with you inside the corresponded article related to this video also. Let's have a look. See, here by browsing this link, Microsoft explained to us the repository pattern very well, especially in terms of the ideas and explanations. They have done this way better than me or anybody else. So if you read Microsoft Docs, you will learn so many things. So as I said, I will share this link inside the article. So let's come back to the PowerPoint. I said I'm going to explain the teamwork, for example. Okay, let's jump to Visual Studio. Imagine that I'm supposed to have 150 different controllers, and there is nothing as a layer or repository or something like that. Then everybody should touch and edit and work on controllers, for example. So teamwork can't have any meaning, but by having something in between, somebody can start and work on the endpoint, somebody can work on the layers and data access and such things. So when we say teamwork, we are talking about these things. For decoupling, it's obvious that having a separate set of classes to interact with DB means decoupling. Testability, you will see this later very soon. See? That's why I said not to having something in between means camel-driven design, because without having in between, you can't have a proper unit testing. Unit testing and mocking is something necessary these days. So if you do not have such things, I call you, whatever you did, camel-driven development or design. See? Without repository, you have a controller or application layer and a connection to any ORM something. By having a repository, I would have something in between. So I can have a mock repository instead of the real repository when I want to do testing, and that matter a lot. One of the very good books to learn these things is this book, Patterns of Enterprise Application Architecture. If you haven't read this book yet, I'm sorry for you. I don't know why you haven't. Because let me come back to my project and Visual Studio again. In this simple application, I created a folder and automatically called it data layer. This means I was expecting to have something like a layer in between. Okay, so let's come back to the PowerPoint. In this book, these things are very well explained. If you look at the contents here, in chapter 1, they explain to us the meaning of layering. So please, if you haven't read this book, buy the PDF or buy the physical book and carefully read it. Okay? So, it is just a beginning. Let's come back to Visual Studio. In this course, we won't have enough time, and the plan is not teaching you software architecture or domain-driven design or such things. We are planning to introduce you Web API in .NET Core, but let me find some time and in some small sections talk about repository and the things that are related to repository and repository pattern. After finishing this course, after having the standard endpoints and everything, I will try to create and conduct a very well explained course about DDD and layering and the things that are related to domain driven design and such things. So if you found my explanations about repository pattern, these things not that deep, don't worry. In this course, we are trying to talk about APIs, not software architecture. But since these things are important and I need something to put in between, because if you see, I just created something funny to play with. So when I want to continue this course, I need something real. When I want to create something real, it should be a standard and it should be nice and properly developed. So I have to start some rough ideas and I have to explain to you some things related to repository and repository pattern and these things, and then we can continue this course in the future. So be with me in the next section. Thank you so much.